A state representative, Patricia Morgan, decided to tweet this recently. I had a black friend, I liked her, and I think she liked me too. But now she is hostile and unpleasant. I am sure I didn't do anything to her except be white. Is that what teachers and our political leaders really want for our society? Divide us because of our skin color? Hashtag CRT. She tweeted that. I would get a text maybe from one Karen to another. Maybe a Facebook post, that's what Facebook is for, is exactly that message. But no, this is a state representative, an elected official who just tweeted this out, Cenk. Now, for context, she is very CRT, and you might have a reasonable follow-up question. Well, does she know what CRT is? And no, she does not. But she is very much against anyone acknowledging racism or teaching the legacy of racism or bigotry, structural racism, individual, anything. And apparently it is having consequences, not legislative consequences, because her efforts, at least at her state so far, have failed. But she has apparently lost a friend specifically because of CRT.
Yeah, well, that context is super important. So I want to read that next graphic before I have fun with her tweet. The tweet from Morgan, who, as John pointed out, unsuccessfully co-sponsored a bill this year that would have restricted the way schools teach the role of race in US history, was met with criticism from state Republicans and Democrats who called her comments ignorant and embarrassing. This is hilarious too. Follow up, she says she told the Globe that the negative reaction to her tweet was yet more proof of the insidious nature of critical race theory. Twitter is a cesspool anyway, Morgan said. But wait. Okay, so that brings us back to her tweet. First of all, let's start with, I had a black friend. Well, congratulations. I mean, are you not merciful? She had a black friend. She had found one. Hey, you over there, you black person, will you be my friend so I can have a black friend? Okay, well, mighty Christian of you. So you use an old school terrible term. Now she says, but this black person has become uppity. She's now hostile and unpleasant. Why? Oh, I introduced a bill saying we shouldn't teach racism ever. We should wipe it from our history books and pretend it didn't happen. And now all of a sudden you're hostile and unpleasant? She really, John, she doesn't get it at all. She genuinely thinks that stuff. That's why I read the second quote about from the Globe. Like, she's like, they're making it all about race. You introduced a bill about race, saying that we should not teach the actual history of the country if it involves racism. And then you're like, they're making it about race. No, you made it about race. But in her infinite entitlement, she thinks, oh, I could just wipe away your identity. I could attack you in every way you want, every way that I want. And then she says, now they're trying to, quote, divide us because of our skin color.
I mean, look, obviously, as I alluded to, she has no idea what critical race theory is and isn't interested. Like, there's no point in trying to educate her on this. She doesn't know and she doesn't care. She defines it as judging people not as individuals, but by immutable characteristics like race and ethnicity, which is not what critical race theory is. But more importantly, what she would do is, as we've been saying, she just doesn't want any acknowledgement of past baked in structural racism, anything like that to be discussed. And look, I don't know how much of her original tweet I actually believe. I don't know if this friend even existed. I don't know if this friend was actually a friend of hers. And if they did drift away, I don't know why it is. But if her friend found out that Patricia Morgan had spent the whole last year participating in this right-wing furor over acknowledging anything about our past, and race is so inextricably woven into American history that you effectively can't teach the history if you avoid teaching about race, then yes, you could be mad about that. I don't think that that's what ruined their friendship. I don't think that they were friends to begin with. But if they were, then yes, I think that's a perfectly reasonable reason to end a friendship.
Yeah, and one last thing, guys, that's really important in this context. So slavery's been around for a long, long time, or was around for a long time, and it's even in the Bible, etc., right? But America, in particular, made it about race. in the past, you would take slaves from conquered armies, and sometimes they'd be your same ethnicity, they'd be different ethnicities, but it didn't have to be racial at all. It was just a matter of power, right? But in America, we attached a racist ideology to it. Oh, we have to enslave black folks because they're inferior to us. They are genetically inferior to us. So after we did all that, and then you try to wipe that away from the history books, and you actually introduce legislation to it, she then says, I am sure I didn't do anything to her except be white. No, you made it racial in the first place, you moron of morons. And I don't think they're ever gonna get that. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.